How's it going, everyone? I know it's been a little while since I put a video up, but I've just had a bit on, but I'm keen to get back into the swing of posting videos and some content and taking you guys along on the grazing journey. And yeah, just thought I'd give a bit of an update. If you've been following along for a little while, you'll probably notice that the line of cattle behind me are fairly different to the ones that I was grazing last year and at the start of this year. And so those drought masters that I was grazing were for the people I was custom grazing for. So basically just bringing in different mobs of animals and putting them on agistment on my lease blocks. But as things turned out, prices came down just due to the dry weather. You can see how dry it is behind me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so with those lower prices, I was able to slip in and buy a few more animals of my own. So I bought two different lots. The first lot was a line of 25 PDIC Santa heifers. So that's just preg tested in calf Santa Gertrudis cattle. And if you don't know the breed Santa Gertrudis, they're a composite breed of the Shorthorn and Brahman. So you can see the Shorthorn coming through in a few of them where they got the broken face. But yeah, they've started calving. I've got about 8 healthy calves on the ground from that mob. Lost 3 so far due to calving issues, and I think that as well is related to the weather and just the lack of nutrition in our pasture base. But no, they're a really nice line of cattle. The heifers were. They're a good price. They're not my my ideal animal and my dream genetics, but they're a great base to start from. So what I do like is that they do have that tropical adaptation. They're slick-hided when we get into the warmer months, but they are too big for my liking. They're too framey, and for that reason, as you can probably see when I walk around a bit later, they just find it hard to maintain their body condition on pasture alone. They're just a really big animal. So that's something that I can obviously breed into them. I want to bring that frame size down, and I want to breed in a bit more fleshing ability with some British blood. So that's the goal for them, but they're a great base to start from. The calves that are popping out of them are Santa Gertrudis calves. So yeah, the steers or the bull calves I'll probably grow out, and they'll go through the meat program, and we'll see how the heifers turn out. And then the second lot that I bought were a line of 21 Angus heifers. So they're about 12 to 13 months when I bought them. They do, I think, have a bit of Hereford mixed in, whether it's a quarter or an eighth. There are a few baldy-faced ones. There's about 3 of those. But then I think just the hair coat, they're not as slick-hided as some Angus. They got that slightly curlier coat like a Hereford. But yeah, they're a really tidy, uniform line as well. And they're obviously a shorter, a smaller frame than your Santa cattle. And there are a few really nice heifers in there with a really feminine attributes, a big chest capacity, a nice depth of body. And so along with the Santa cattle, they're going to get joined to a bull next February. So yeah, I suppose that's the mob. The bull I'm looking to put them to is a Heritage Angus bull, and the Heritage Angus bulls are a lot different to the commercial Angus cattle in Australia. They're just more so related to the original Aberdeen Angus genetics. So they haven't been bred for maximum growth rates and maximum weaning weights. They're a much smaller, compact frame, and because of that, on grass, they're a lot easier fleshing. They can maintain their body weight and then also consume enough energy and protein to to produce something, so beef in our case. But other than that, you can see just how dry it is. So to give you some perspective, from January to this time last year, we had 850 mil. This year, from January to the point we're at now, we've had 250 mil. So it's been an extremely challenging year so far, keeping these animals in good condition. I did drop back numbers when I stopped custom grazing, so I could have kept some animals on to custom graze and on agistment, but we dropped them right back, and I just wanted to have enough feed and standing forage to feed my mob without having to feed hay. I am feeding a supplement, so I'm doing up my own supplement mix that I'll do a video on, but that's just to provide the protein, you know, to fill in the protein gap. Once our C4 grasses like African love grass and Rhodes grass get mature and rank, they get really high in fiber and they are really, really low in protein. And the protein is what maintains the population of microbes in the gut to help them digest this ranker feed. So the protein lick that I'm giving them, that's the wedge that it's filling. But you know, what are we now? The 20th of October. This time last year we had some really nice spring rain, and that's really, really what I'm hanging out for. I'm not too worried about not having feed. We're gonna have standing feed, but I just want them to be on a better plane of nutrition, grazing fresh, green, leafy, nutritious forage. Because as you can see, the heifers that have had a calf are dropping in body condition. Well, they're not continuously dropping, but they have since they've had the calf, and that's just a result of the nutritional requirements doubling and the calf, you know, essentially sucking the nutrients and the life out of that heifer. So it's kind of what I'm calling their work clothes. They've got to go through this period where, you know, they're not going to be fat. They've really got to forage and find their way, because I can't supplement and I can't you know, coddle them too much, because that won't be profitable, and I think if it's not profitable, it's not enjoyable, and I can't keep doing it. So the right genetics and animals will rebreed next year, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of animals in here that are in good body condition, like the ones that I pointed out. The only ones that aren't are the Santa cattle that are really big, really framey, have a lot of you know, energy and protein requirements, and they're struggling a little bit. So whoever breeds back next year, you know, they're going to be our hardier, better doing cattle on our environment, with lower quality tropical forages. Anyway folks, I'll sign off there. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you shortly.